water. What's up, simps? Wet Duelist here. So today I'm featuring Mermails on the channel. It's actually a deck that I have played on and off over the years. Not really like during like the Link era. I definitely was just delving in other things then, but I came back to it recently. It's actually a lot of fun, especially with like Hulk being a water and like all kinds of things that you can do with the deck, and it's kind of sort of toolboxy. But yeah, today I have a combo variant. It's something that I have kind of been playtesting recently and kind of wanted to feature on the channel. So here we are with the latest and greatest of Fish.
Also, really quick, I want to give two shout outs. One to Witter Kills, because he's been touching on this deck recently, and a second shout out to a lesser known YouTuber, Sonny P. If you haven't checked out Sonny P or you haven't heard of him, do yourself a favor and go do that, because the guy is a fucking meme master. But yeah, those two guys have been touching on Mermails recently, and it kind of is what pushed me to upload my list. So yeah, that's that. Alright, so starting off the list, you have the triple Deep Sea Diva. Of course, this is the best normal summon in the deck, but you know, that being said, this card's really susceptible to hand traps, which is quite unfortunate. So sometimes normal summoning the Prince is better because he can send for cost, so you can kind of ensure that you at least get one search off of the Dragoons that you're going to send for cost more often than not, unless you're playing into a board. But also, you know, playing into war with Prince can be sometimes not so great because it isn't unsummoned. So it's kind of give and take. It's kind of like depends like what you're like going up against, which route you should take. I mean, of course, like playing into a board, this card's like always going to get negated. It's really hard to play around that fact unless you're playing with the Abystius, but really quickly going over these cards. This card on normal summon, only on normal summon actually, which totally sucks. You can summon a 3 or lower sea serpent from your deck, and then Prince says that he can send one Atlantean monster from your deck to the graveyard for cost to add an Atlantean monster from your deck to your hand. And then if he is sent to the grave to activate a water effect, you can summon any level 4 or lower Atlantean monster from the graveyard. So yeah, it's pretty good. These are like the best cards. Not really a ton to talk about with these guys. But yeah, then you have the 3 Abystius. Like I said, this guy can help play through boards, because when this card, pitching Dragoons as cost, resolves, like you can do some stuff to like kind of try to play through negates and just like disruption in general. This is like the best card, to be completely honest with you, outside of Prince and Diva. But sadly, it's not searchable, which totally sucks. And the reason it's so good is because when paired with Dragoons, you can, at least going first, do like really big combos with this card, because like Status Dragoons can be like into Diva, into Prince, into Hulk, into so on and so forth. But yeah, Dragoons is like, of course, you know, infamous for Mermails. When he sent the grave to activate a water monster's effect, you can search any Sea Serpent, which is just broken, which is the majority of the deck. But like we do play stuff that's like Aquas and Fish as well. So yeah, this is like, you know, the star of the show. Like the best card was limited, semi-limited, and now he's back at 3. He's been back at 3 for a while, but yeah, the best boy. And then this guy on summon searches any 4 or lower Mermail, which we only play one target, because I'm not really a big fan of like Pike and Mander. I'm definitely more so a fan of Mander than I am Pike, but yeah, we'll get into that later. But yeah, these are, you know, all mandatory 3-ofs, because you not only need them like in deck for grinds, but you also like go through a majority of the deck in like your first turn, which is kind of an issue, but again, we'll touch on that more later. So for the rest of the Atlanteans, I'm playing 3 heavy infantry. Whenever he's sent to activate a water monster, he destroys a face-up card, and I think it might only be monster. No, it's face-up card, which is really nice. But the effect that actually really matters for me is during your main phase, you can normal summon a level 4 or lower Sea Serpent in addition to your normal summon, which is really cool. And of course, you can only gain that effect once per turn. So like this guy into Diva going first can not only like protect you from like your Diva getting ashed, so that you can still like make a Hulk play and like do some stuff, but also it kind of like makes your boards bigger, because it gives you more link material kind of just like for free. So that's why I included 3 of this here. I'm actually not playing Marksman. I was playing Marksman for a while, but I ended up cutting it for a card that we're going to get up to very shortly. I was only playing 1. I was still playing 3 infantry, but I was playing 1 Marksman as well, but I ended up dropping it. That being said, Marksman's really good right now because there's a lot of back row going around, but I just feel like with the deck right now, you should probably just go first. Like, you can play rulers and like lightning storms and shit, but I think that stuff's more like catered to the sideboard right now, just in my opinion. But yeah. Next, we have 3 Deep Sea Minstrel. While it's not like the greatest card in the world, the fact that like you can pitch this card and Dragoons to like search into your diva, and then it looks at your opponent's hand and you banish 1 card face up until the end phase, it kind of just like secures your plays, which is why this card is like kind of really important to have in your opening hand, which is why we're including 3 of it. We're playing the search spell as well. Yeah, it's really good. It's also a tuner, so like you can summon it off Hulk. And then if you're reviving this in any way, it's really just if it's special summon, but like it's kind of hard to do, to be completely honest, unless like you get it off diva, which just really isn't that good, because you're going to want to get access to Prince in some way. But if it is special summon, you can mill the top 3 cards of the deck, and then you can put a water monster that you milled on the top or bottom. So like this can like randomly just like trigger Dragoons and like infantries and stuff, which is nice. But I mean, you know, whatever, that part's whatever. It's really just the look at your opponent's hand and banish card face up. So for some additional extenders, we have 3 Aqua Spirit. I've kind of always been an advocate of playing this card in the deck just to begin with. Like, it's just really good. Like, there's really no reason like not to play this card. You just shit it out of your hand. It's just a free extender. It's a level 4, which is nice. So if you can end up like pitching a Prince to get a Dragoons back, then you know, you can have access to like Dweller or Bahamut Toad plays. But speaking of Toad, you also play the Swap Frog engine because it's just like really free. Unfortunately, it doesn't trigger the Atlanteans, so that kind of sucks, but like getting access to Toad's really good to play through boards. And then like, you know, there's just some cards that like you really don't want to draw, but it's not really the end of the world, some worse than others. You have 1 Ronin Tonin to go with the Swap Frogs as the target. Lapis Dragon, drawing this card sucks because it's just completely useless, and you kind of just end up discarding it. But this card's really nice because you can search it off Dragoons. The Sea Serpent, it's a tuner, and when it's added from your deck to your hand, you can summon it, and then you know, it makes Hulk, so that's cool. You can like leave up resources, like leave up the diva. You can go for like a Ravenous Croc play, or leave up the Prince and do things like that, or do things with that. I mean, the Hulk target is the Fishboard Launcher, so like again, like drawing this sucks, but like you can summon it from your hand, so it's like whatever. Also pitching it off of Minstrel, Megalo, Staeus, it's fine. But you want to get it off Hulk so that you can get it on board for free, make a play with it like a Link play or a Synchro play, and then you can get it back from the graveyard for more material if all the monsters in your grave are water, which like the majority of the deck is just water monsters. Like when you're comboing, that will never be a problem. 1 Gund, this is just the target for Staeus. It's really good paired with Megalo because you can like discard like extra Staeuses with the Megalo and the gun and like get it back. You can have access to like a Gaios play, or just again like just more Synchro or Link plays. And then of course the Megalo is just at least a mandatory 1 of. Some people play 2, but I just play the 1. So the next card is something that I'm like testing still. I'm kind of just like testing in all of my decks. I'm playing Prosperity because it's just like insane and can kind of facilitate like potential plays where you can get into Staeus if you don't have it, or really just like anything you're missing. So I'm gonna be completely honest, I really don't know how I feel about this yet, but it's definitely something that I wanted to test, so I figured I'd include it in the profile because I have the card and it seems good in theory. So yeah, Prosperity. I mean, don't really have to say much about this. Everyone knows this card. 2 Aria because it searches like a majority of your starters, and like it can get you access to Minstrel too. If you went like normal Prince, dump, add, you can then just go get the Minstrel, discard the Dragoons you added, and then like continue your plays, so that's nice. And then of course the conflicting card with Prosperity is Avarice, but you like literally have to play this card, unfortunately. Like there's really no way around it. You just go through so much that you like on the follow-up you like have nothing if they break your board. So yeah, you actually just have to play this. So I've also kind of noticed, even just playing without Prosperity, sometimes I don't even need this and I can just like even just hold it as like a power play for the following turn. So like it's definitely conflicting, but I feel like you can probably get away with it. But yeah, Average is broken. Shuffle back 5, draw 2. And then next you just have a couple broken 1-ofs, like 1 for 1, just access to Prince, Called By, it's just a good card. You just kind of, you know, helps you play through stuff. Instant Fusion, this is definitely iffy because it's at 1, but like I play the 1 target. There's a couple options you have for the 1 target, but I'll get into that later. And then Reborn, just because you just power 1 of. This is definitely a flex spot. Majority of these are flex spots, except for these 2. So yeah, I guess these 2 are flex spots, but I mean, like you could play Talents, like you can not play Prosperity, you play Talents instead. I played Talents for a while, like before Prosperity came out, so I mean, like it's fine. Yeah, Reborn's Reborn though. Extra deck, there's not a ton to talk about in here either. Hulk, I mean, yeah, it's water, that's cool. Lacia, this card's actually kind of the nuts, because it, like on paper it seems like kind of really slow because The effect reads, monsters this card points to gains 500 attack and defense. You can only use the following effects once per turn. During your opponent's turn, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard and add one mermail from your deck to your hand, which is cool, like it Surge's Teus, which is actually really good for follow-ups. But that effect's nuts because you can pitch heavy infantry with it. And like the heavy infantry can like resolve on a separate chain, like pop cards. But it's it's like at any point you have priority during your opponent's turn. It's really cool. And then if this card's destroyed, it floats into any water monster from your graveyard, I think. Yeah, it sends a water monster as cost, which is nuts because you can again like send infantry and pop cards and then revive any water monster, which is really cool. One area, the Water Charmer. So this actually has a lot of like random applications. Like against Shadalls, you can make this and like take Aerial. And then you can like take people's Hauks, you can make access code with it, which kind of sucks because like you're making access code with 2 waters. But either way, this actually has a lot of really cool applications. It comes up basically is what I'm saying. It's also like mostly generic and it is a water itself. So this is something I've been testing recently. It's proven to be really good though. So I'm going to continue to play it. IP, I mean, sure. Like it's kind of like, you don't really go into this a lot. But like it's IP, so like it could be like really good on your end board. Like I feel like most of the time I end up setting up like Hauk with Lacia and then like a Synchro or maybe 2 or maybe like NXC, depending on like my hand's insane. But a lot of the times you can very easily set up Hauk, Lacia, and then Adamancipated Risen Dragite. Yeah. So then for the rest of the links you have Unicorn. I mean, yeah, it's Unicorn. Just like free interruption. If you have the IP, it's also just really good for climbing into access code talker so that you can go, pop 2, whatever, do some stuff, do some things, kill your opponent. Of course, this is for the follow-up. I just like include this in like all my decks. Synchros, formula. This is for the Hulk play. So you go this, of course, and then you make Satellite Warrior with the Adamancipated Risen Dragite. Unfortunately, like I don't play Savage in this because there's a lot of times where I can go for the Savage, but there's not a Link monster in my graveyard yet because you like want to leave the Hulk up. Like it's very strange. You actually use Hulk's effect. Like I know like DDDs do that too, but this is one of the decks where you can do that. Of course, the Dragite's always live. It's Mermails. Ravenous Crocodile. I can never really make this for more than like a 7 and a 2. But, I mean, it's just kind of there. It's like an additional endboard piece. A lot of the time, though, I end up with 1 card in hand, and then I use the formula to get the second, so that I can have, like, Hulk and these 2, or, like, Hulk, these 2, and Lacia, like I said, so... but then it's, it's weird, because, like, you want to use the Lacia first, so you can, like, pop a card, search a card, so this is live, and, like, the search is irrelevant. But, if you have a board like that, your opponent probably just, like, shouldn't win, but, whatever. Satellite, this is, like, the big blowout card. You can get this for 3 sometimes, but most of the time you just get it for 2. But it's, it's basically punishment, and it becomes like 45 when you summon him, so it's pretty cool. It's also like just cards too. You pop just cards, which is really nice. So for the X Seeds, you have 1 Gaios. This was like something that was kind of like in and out. Like I was testing Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. I was testing that card, but honestly, like going into that card, usually just like I had to like try to set it up, and also it was just like sucking up my whole board, which I wasn't really a fan of for a card that like funny enough like dies to targeting. But yeah, anyway, rank 4s, Shark, Dweller. I mean, this card's insane, and then this gets you access to this if you don't have the frog package. And the last card is Rare Fish. So I have Sea Monster Theseus. So I don't know, like this is a rank 4 machine, but like Theseus can make instant fusion like always guarantee Hulk. But like let's be completely honest, like Diva is a card, like Deep Sea Aria is a card now, so you're pretty much guaranteed Hulk anyway. So I don't know, like this could be either or, this could be anything else. Like you could just cut the instant fusion. This is definitely like just something that's more of like a player preference for me, but yeah, that's the deck. I mean, Mermails, water. It's pretty sick. It's really fun. It's just kind of like one of those like rogue combo decks. And, surprisingly enough, because of the existence of the Minstrel, it makes like playing through like hand traps like just cake. Because for one, you just like get to look at their hand, which is kind of insane. On top of just like your board being really good. But the deck definitely does have inherent inconsistencies. This is definitely like a go first like combo take on the build. But some things that I wanted to mention. Deep Sea Prima Donna, I'm like really just like not a fan of that card, because like Prima Donna is really good because it is like a guaranteed synchro 8 or 9, where the card says you can target one of your opponent's face up banished cards and then you can put it back in their hand, and you can summon any, I think it's like any 4 lower sea serpent from your deck. So you can get like Marksman. Some people play like the Deep Sea Artisan, but I would rather just like go get Prince just so I don't have to play that card. And then you can make like an 8 or a 9 play. And then like when it's sent to the field of grave, you can shuffle back a banished card into the deck. So you can like hand loop your opponent kind of, but like more often than not, you're gonna like give them the card back to get the guy out of your deck. So I don't know. I'm just not really a fan of it, because it kind of seems like if I'm taking a Nib or an Ash from my opponent and I just give it back to him, it's just kind of like worthless. But I already went over Theseus. Like, yeah, that's about it. Honestly, I don't really want to make this go on much longer than it already has. But yeah, that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time, Simps.